Valley Club. My long-awaited chase for Odin is almost over, but it could have ended a few weeks earlier if I didn't do these mistakes. In this video, we're going to talk about what are some of the mistakes I made that cost me time getting Dark Dimension and cost me some of the milestones. Also, I'm going to talk about what I did good, which characters helped me, which are good characters to bring in, and what are some strategies on some of these tougher nodes in Dark Dimension 8. So if you already see how to get Odin a lot sooner than I did, then you need to do Valley Club. Find that like button and let's go smash it. And welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel. I am ValleyFlyin. I hope you are having an excellent day. In this video, it's going to be all about Odin. I hope you either have Odin unlocked or are very close to getting him unlocked. We're going to talk about what are some of the mistakes that kept me from unlocking Odin a few weeks earlier than I probably should have based on the resources that I have. And if you are still chasing Odin, hopefully you don't make these mistakes. But before we get to all the Dark Dimension 8 and Odin talk, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button for more great Marvel Strike Force content. At least 5 Marvel Strike Force videos per week on this channel. Usually more. We got guides like this. We got reveal videos like we did yesterday with a full Astral team, question and answer videos, news videos, everything you have your experience in Marvel Strike Force. But it is all about this guy, Odin, and what I did to unlock this character. Well, let's talk about some of the characters, what I did right and what I did wrong in selection of the characters. So when I first started building up these characters, we didn't have the order of Dark Dimension unlocked. You know, I was assumed that Legendary and Cosmic would be last, and we weren't sure what would be the order of the rest of these sections. So I started building these characters before it was even announced. And I guess looking back, if I was just chasing Odin, not focused on my arena rank at the time, it would have been better to save all that purple ISO 8 and use it once the announcement for Dark Dimension 8 is announced, the order of these traits. But honestly, I did not think I would be getting this close to Odin. This is where I am right now with these last 2 milestones. Almost did this node, don't want to use some cores to get this node, and probably not going to get this last one. The major piece that I want is these 7-star for Odin. That is just so I can save some dark promos down the road. But what I'm hearing is that a big Odin, a small Odin, very situational. So whether the Odin is big or not, it really depends on the situation that you're using him in. So not sure if this last star really matters as far as gameplays, but for the bragging rights, it matters a lot. Let's talk about the characters that I brought in. So the first 3 characters that I brought up are these characters that were involved in arena meta at the time. Apocalypse, I knew he would be a great character. Super Skrull, I knew he'd be a great character. Old Man Logan is who the first 3 characters that we brought up. Around that time is when I unlocked Mephisto for Dark Dimension 8, so we brought up these characters, and then we had the Annihilators come to the game, and because they're arena meta, I brought up Endgame Thanos, I brought up Gladiator, did not bring up Gore, but that was probably my biggest mistake in my chase for Odin. Now, it did help me in my arena ranking at the time, it helped me from for getting some power cores, but that's probably the biggest mistake. Go in order unless you are looking to do something right now like I was in arena. Build these characters up in order. Now that we know the order, let's talk about some of these teams. So the first section after that unlimited section, you're gonna start with this unlimited section here, these first 2 nodes, but the first section after that is gonna be City Heroes. And you have a few ways that you could go with this. At the time, we didn't have the Night Stalkers in the game, so Spider Society was the best and may still be the best solution for this city section. Pretty much autoed through these first 2 city nodes with the Spider Society. These first couple nodes are pretty easy, but yeah, this city section with the Spider Society, very, very easy. Now the next section was this city villain section. Now, if we go to the city villains, I think I would do these exact same characters because since I brought up those characters, we haven't had any more city villains added to the game. We haven't had a lot of reworks. Other team that you might want to go, the direction you might want to go is for these symbiotes in the Hive Mind. You still have Carnage, Venom, and Red Goblin that are valuable in the Hive Mind team nowadays, but the main character there, Void Knight and Gwenom, are the main pieces that you're going to be missing. So I do think that the Superior Sinister Six is the way to go with this city villain section. Now the next section is a non-legendary global hero section, and this is probably the toughest section in all of Dark Dimension. One, because of the selection of characters, and there's a couple ways we could go with this, but also because the enemies that you're facing here. So as far as who I brought up, Black Knight I think is a good choice. Hank Pym and Black Panther Shuri are good choices. Nightcrawler I think is a good choice, and if we look at a lot of the top nodes that are the top damage nodes that are done in the global hero section, it does have those 4. The last piece I brought up Gambit, and I could have brought up a few other characters. One way to go is Captain Britain. If you look at the top damage players, they did use Captain Britain as that fifth. The other way you could have went was with Spider Weaver. So I think instead of Gambit, if I do this again, brought up Captain Britain, especially because now he's in a candy store and now you can get more shards for him. I think the reason that I didn't bring up Captain Britain because I have a 3 gold star, 3 red star Captain Britain, and I just didn't think he would be big enough. But looking back, maybe Captain Britain is the way to go. Weaver is another choice there instead of Gambit, but we brought Gambit and we struggled through that City Hero section. If we look at this, I did a lot of attacks there. And some of that was because I started so late with this. Again, if I went in order, we could have had more of these characters done, had more time to do this, and I didn't need to use cores to do all 14 of those attacks. Probably could have refreshed some of these attacks or done some of these attacks again, especially if we brought in Gambit. But that's the other thing that I did want to mention. If we look at this, you're getting some rewards every time you beat a node. You have some ISO 8 credits there. Second node, you have some of these ions. For me, the main bottleneck was these ions. So if you're just looking to get some of these characters up and get you Dark Dimension time, do this in order so you can get some of these ions and some of this purple ISO 8 that you can equip on some of these characters. But checking out the non-legendary global hero, why it was such a tough node, well, there's a lot of sentinels. These sentinels call more sentinels, getting around the taunt of these sentinels and these panda pools. This omega sentinel that does all that retaliation damage. This is a tough node to get through. These hand sentries make it tough as well. These omega sentinels with their damage and then more of these hand sentries. So this is a challenging node. The next node did not take as long for me. Only took about 5 attacks for this one. So even with the same team, the mission 8 is not as bad as mission 7, but mission 7 probably the toughest node in all of Dark Dimension. We pretty much one-shotted the next node here with these global villains, and what we brought in with the global villains, we had that Apocalypse done, and then we brought in the rest of the Orcus team. I still don't have Omega Sentinel unlocked, but we have some pretty beefy normal Sentinel, Nimrod, Scientist Supreme, and Lady Deathstrike. And if we look at what we did with those nodes, mission 9, we one-shotted that with this team. Mission 10, we pretty much one-shotted all the way to that final boss, or until Super Skrull popped up. And that's where it got challenging, at least for me. All these waves were fine. This Green Goblin wave, this wave with the Annihilators. But once Super Skrull popped up, especially with the team that we brought with all the positive effects, Super Skrull got a lot of turn meter. We kept getting that turn meter over and over. Tried a few different ways to get through this last boss, but I eventually just took the fight and left it and thought we would have to do a few attacks to beat this last node. And what I actually ended up doing, obviously, once Super Skrull is done, the rest of this node is easy, but couldn't get him done. Minerva kept healing him. Jessica Jones kept getting ability blocks off of him, and it was rough. So I ended up going last character killed was Super Skrull. Probably not the best way to do this, but this is a pretty easy note until you get to Super Skrull. And last but not least, the Legendary Cosmic section. Pretty good selection of characters here. We have some really good synergy with Super Skrull and his Expose that he applies. The passive of Endgame Thanos and giving ability energy when you're attacking someone with Exposed. The last character that I would probably bring in instead of Gladiator would be Val, just making use of that Exposed mechanic. The synergy with Endgame Thanos, Super Skrull, and Val is very, very big. And Val is still a character that I'm using in the Mystic section of the Orcus raids right now. Still haven't shifted to that full Night Stalkers team. Blade and Oath seem to do very good for me, but once the enemies start to take a team, that seems to start to fall apart right now. So maybe Man-Thing is needed, but yeah, Val instead of Gladiator. Now, as far as getting Odin as quick as possible, this is a regret. I would bring in Val instead of Gladiator, get that synergy with Endgame Thanos and Skrull, and just go through all these nodes. Here, people could one-shot it with that team, but this was who I brought. I'm not sure if I totally regret this because of the value that Gladiator brought in Arena for that time, but this was the team that I brought. Only changes I make, either Captain Britain or Weaver instead of Gambit, and instead of Gladiator here, I would bring Val. This last node is pretty tough. It's probably gonna take me a few days to get through this node. Same thing with this last node. There are a few Mephistos here. There's a lot of Old Man Logans, and apocalypses and stuff like that. So challenging node here. But with that synergy, doing it right, I think Val would be the way to go here and could get us through this a lot quicker. So I'm not gonna get this last milestone, but we did get closer than I thought. Let me know how you did on this milestone. Did you get where you wanted? Did you get farther than you wanted? Did you get that Odin unlock during this time? Hopefully you got that Odin unlock, but if not, hopefully you got some value from this video anyway, helping you to pick the best characters to bring into Dark Dimension and some strategy for some of the tougher nodes that I had some issues with. Hopefully it helps you get through it a lot quicker. And if you did get some value from this video, leave it a like. It is free for you, tremendously helps out the ValleyFlyin channel. And if you want to check out one of the trap characters that you should not over invest in right now, check out the video up there. I'll see you guys. Good luck with Odin. Hopefully get him very, very soon. And I'll see you guys next time. Hulk fist bump, ValleyFlyin out.